It means we're just like. Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's been talking about 4 pillars. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Things that will help you run this profitable business. And today we're working on the second pillar. So I want you to stay tuned because you don't want to miss this. And if you miss the first part, you need to watch the replay because it was all about decision making. So we're going to move forward from there and turn the floor over to Coach Caren. We want to give a shout out to all of you watching live and on the replay. So without further ado, Coach, take it away. What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about accessing your greatest desire. Last week we spoke on the art of decision making and what that looks like and where you need to be at. And this week we are talking about accessing your greatest desires. I'm going to give you the meaning of desires and then we're going to go from there. Desire is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen.
Okay. Wishing for something to happen.
Or wanting. And, who hasn't been wishing or wanting something to happen? But you're tapping into the greatest part of you when you have that, when you have a desire for something. Now, all desires don't manifest itself right away, but it's there and it lives and you're good and you want to have that. Okay, that's important. And so we're talking about the 4 pillars of possibilities. This is possibility in yourself, for your business, and where you can grow to. So that's what we're covering. And now that I give you the meaning, we're going to talk about 2 things. We're not going to do 3. I give you the meaning, we're going to do 2 things because I'm going to talk. I go off, so we're going to talk about these 2 things, right? we're gonna answer the question of what are your greatest desires, and who do you want to share your desires with? That's it. Those are the 2. What they are and who you want to share them with. That's what you do. And the reason for that is so that you've got these bunch of people. You don't feel you have to spill all around, because I find when we think about something, want something, wish for something, and it's human nature to want to tell somebody about it. And so it's hard when we don't have people to tell about it because we feel like it's not going to happen. But it's good to be quiet with yourself in the beginning anyway. And then when you want to share, I want you to have the people that A, is going to cheer you on, and B, it's not because you don't want him to poke holes or tell you anything. You just want to have people who's going to encourage you because you're at this delicate stage. You've just birthed this baby or thinking about it or feeling desire for it. And then it happens, if somebody get a child, whether it's because they're too young or people think they're too old, there's always so much to be said to them. And now they're questioning if they should have or should keep the baby or should have the baby. This is the same thing that's happening to you in the stages. So you want to pick well who you're going to share it with. It is important. Greatest desires are known to us, but at times we feel like it's so big and it's beyond our wildest imagination that we might find ways to push it back or push it down. You ever desire something so badly and you're in the moment, you're feeling excited about it, but then something happened and you start doubting yourself, second guessing yourself. Well, I don't think I should do it. Let's say you wanted to create handbags, right? And you have seen some beautiful bags and you've got some really great designs in your head, but you're comparing how yours could ever be as good as theirs because it was manufactured, somebody had done it. But what you have to understand is somebody had that same desire and they painstakingly, whether they can draw or do whatever, started it, and it was bad at first. People are afraid, especially when I say this on social media, sometimes people say, don't say the word bad, but people are afraid to be bad at something. But when you're bad at something, you come back, pardon my French, as a badass when you finally figure it out. So don't
Mm-hmm.
get to be bad at it, because all those bad lessons or feel bad lessons really pushes you to get better at it.
Ah.
It is like you're ground in stone. It's like you're digging the foundation for your house. I
Mm-hmm.
was at a conference, I don't know, over 20 years ago, and the gentleman that was speaking talked about him wanting to be a builder or a real estate investor. And he got to his uncle construction site, and they made him dig a trench. And he said, after 3 months of digging the trench, he was like, "This is the stupidest, worst job ever." Because how much trenches do I need to dig? Right? And he said he was so furious. He went up to his uncle's house and he said to him, he says, "Listen, man, I've been digging trenches for a while. My desire is to be in real estate investment or something." And people who at the top who's doing this sort of stuff don't dig trenches. You understand? They come in the office, they got a briefcase, and he went to the spiel. And he said, his uncle said, "So you've dug enough trenches. You're ready to move on." He said, "Okay, we'll move you up tomorrow." He says, "No, I want an answer today. I want to know what I'm coming back to do tomorrow. If not, I'm not coming back." He says, "Meanwhile, let me tell you guys, I barely finished high school."
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going very far, but I wanted to be at the top. And he said, "I came next morning. My uncle gave me a briefcase and he sent me to take it somewhere. I went to take it. And when I got to the office of the person he took it to, the person opened the briefcase in front of him. And when the briefcase was open, there was $1 million in that inside." And the man told him to count the money. And he said he got so excited. He was debating. And the man said, "So if this was yours, what would you do with it?" So, of course, they set him up. And he said he didn't know what to say. He didn't know what to do. He started talking a lot of stupid things. And he said, "I came back realizing, A, I wasn't ready to be a millionaire. B, I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't digging the trenches, because I had to
Mm-hmm.
learn what I was supposed to learn. I was busy whining while I dig the trenches." So he said, on the following day, I asked the guy who dig with me, "Why do you enjoy digging the trenches?" And the guy says, "For the people who dig the trenches, we understand how strong the foundation has to be. And we know without us digging in, you wouldn't have a great home. People houses will be falling down. We're
Yes.
doing a good job. So you're actually building from the bottom." And the guy said, "Don't you want to go any further?" He says, "To tell you the truth, boy, I love digging trenches, even though I can drywall, I can do plumbing, I've built several houses. This is where I feel really good. And I work in different areas, but this is where I love." And so he said he went walk away with the lesson, understanding foundational things. And having a desire is your foundation, it's part of your foundation. You made that decision, and now you have that desire, and you're building on that foundational stuff. What is it? What do I want? If you
Mm.
want a lot of money, well, there comes a lot of things you're gonna have to do. If you run a company that made $10,000 a month, it's a far cry from a person who's running a company that make $100,000 a month. They have so many other balls up in the air that you can't even fathom. So you have to understand how to run your company, because we're in business, guys, and we're talking business here, but also for your life. You got to understand how many balls you can juggle at once, because most people want to just do this thing, but the truth is we always juggling several balls. And in last week, I described how many things a business need to actually have it run well. Well, now you're adding on to that. So once the decision was made and desire is there, you got to ask yourself the balls that you want to carry. Now, that
Mm-hmm.
means the balls of hiring people, right? Hiring people is a ball in the air because you got to train them and you got to pay attention to what they're doing. Because when you first hire people, you are their supervisor and manager until you hire a trainer, a supervisor, and a manager. While you're there, that's what you're doing. Now you're wearing different hats. You're training, you're learning how to fire people because it's gonna happen. You learn how to hire people. You learn how to lead people well by listening more than you speak and tell them. You let them inquire. When I was young when I first started hiring people, I think I was about 17. Yeah, I didn't hit 18 when I hired my first person, and I was, my head was in the air, and I wanted her to do exactly what I told her to do. But she had some really great ideas. And the first, she was my sales rep. And the things I sent her to do wasn't working. And she said to me, she says, Caren, I could do this, this, and that, and we'll have a better result. And I fought her on it. I couldn't hear her. I couldn't hear her. But I'm so happy that she had the sense to have the initiative to follow what she was feeling and change it around. And we did so much better. So leaders have to listen. So when you have the strong desire, you know what you want to do, and you become this leader, you're going to have to listen a lot. Because if somebody comes to you with 5 to 10 things, all might not be what you want, but 1 or 2 out of the pile you might be able to use.
Okay. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And you let them know. And when they're winning, here's the other part. When they come to you with an idea and it's a winning one, I want you to let them know. I want you to support them emotionally and financially from the idea. This is big. Wow. Money is not the only thing people want, but they do want money. So don't say, well, they just want, no, they want both. They want you to acknowledge what they've done. They want you to either give them a better position because of it, and they want to be paid. So in my case, I was a teenager. These was younger people. I allow, when I hire 2 more people, for her to be the trainee of them. So the position made her feel good. She got money to help her feel better. And now she felt like she was really in charge of that specific department. Anybody, anything, any question asked, she was like this. Oh, I know what to do. You don't have to ask Caren. You could just ask me. Because I allow her, right? I step aside and I allow her to do what she was great at. So when you have a desire, it's not only you. You also want to invite people in who have great desires as well. They're not coming to take over. They don't want your position. A lot of people think somebody wants their position. They don't want your position. If they want your position, they're not a good fit. People come into your company. The people you hire admire you, might want to be something like you, but they have the understanding that they don't want to be you because they also see things about you that they don't want to be.
There's a thought.
They're watching, right? So they're seeing things about you that they don't like. They don't want to be. They don't want to do. Fast forward, I was in my 40s, when I hired my first general manager for the cleaning biz. And we were doing well, but then we had to have this really hard talk. And she says, Caren, this is hard for me to say, but I got to say it. You got to step away and let me do my job.
All right.
I did not want to, but what she did was give me space.
Okay. Now, when someone gives you space, that means that you are in a position to help them to build the business, to contribute your skills and your gifts. Wow. That's a privilege. I think we're frozen. Coach.
Company.
Yeah, wow. we had a little glitch there.
Yeah.
Okay. When someone comes into your business, you said they're not there to take over. Okay. What were you going to say about the company?
Yes, she gave me the space, right? She gave me space to keep building, and she get to see things that I was doing too much of, and I was too close to see I was doing that. She stepped into that role, and let's say, for instance, the people that I would have probably leaned backwards to work with, she was able to say, Caren, they're not a good fit for what you believe in.
Oh.
Like she was able to say, we can't work for them. I know it might feel like I'm taking away business from you, but she says, this is not how it works. And true to her word, that when they would offer her to work for them instead of me, like literally, you can do this on your own, she would simply say to them, I'm calling my boss right now to let her know that you tried to hire me. And a couple of times she did. I work for a really good woman, and I'm not quitting to work for you because I'm not going to charge you anything cheaper.
Yeah.
And she was able to do that sort of thing. And then I knew she was just genuinely good for the business.
Wow,
Genuinely
that
good
is
for
that's
the business.
integrity.
Yes, yes, yes. So we've got these desires and we know what we want to do, we know where we want to be, and we need those cheerleaders who's going to come in and cheer for us. And cheering comes in different way, in her stepping up and say, "Hey, I work for Caren, and that's it. I'm the supervisor, the trainer for narco cleaning. And if you want to know anything beyond what I can tell you, here's my boss contact. Give her a ring.
Hmm.
That'll be it." And she really let me step up my game. A, I felt better charging my prices. B, I was able to do it understanding that they mightn't come on board. But I know between her and I, if I was having a hard time deciding, we can have the conversation and we could make a really sound decision, not for myself, not for her, but for the business and the growth of it. Because
Hmm.
sometimes we need to step aside. Like once we establish that knowing, that desire, and we know where we're going, now we can step back and we can take the emotional feeling out of it and we can actually run it as it's supposed to be run. We know that if we were charging 225 to clean a 3-bedroom home, that's the cost. That's the cost. We don't have to say, well, it's going to be 190, maybe 175, because every time you do that, I'm bringing in money now because I want you to listen very carefully on this part, right? Anytime you charge somebody 225 over here and you charge somebody 275 over 175 over there, you're doing a disservice to the 225 client. She would never know, somebody might say, but she will. And it doesn't matter if she knows, you knows. And
Hmm.
that integrity part string is starting to get thin. It's not as great anymore because you're not pricing right. You're not keeping it across the board. And someone might say, well, maybe her house is different. Maybe it is. But if it takes the same amount of time, whether the style is different or not, and the price is 225, unless there's the new client came on board because there were a coupon established or a discount for or a sale going on, it needs to stay at 225. And
Hmm.
although I was good at it, she helped me to stay within my 225, whatever number it was. I'm just using that number. She helped me to stay there. Everybody was paid fairly. Everybody got bonuses for Christmas and for their birthdays. And, people were happy because they're getting treated well. I looked after my client, but I also look after the staff.
Yes.
And everybody's getting a fair deal. And so when you start growing a business, because this is 2025, guys, if the last 4 years was hard and you weren't getting to where you need to get to, don't worry. Right now, you're in the place where you're able to do better. You're able to grow your company. You're able to understand and establish prices that make sense for your business. Not because you're greedy. No, this is the price that your business need to sustain itself. This is the
Hmm.
price it needs so you can pay for help, whether it's a
Yes.
contractor or an employee. This is, if you don't price right, a lot of people say, I want a contractor because I don't want to deal with all the government taxes and what have you. But truly, if you're building a company, you need employees. You need to pay that employment, whatever. You need to pay those taxes. That's part of building a company. If not, stay solo and just do a little thing. But if you truly want to turn your business into a company, these are parts of the growing pains that you have to establish. And it's okay. Because remember, within this frame, you're also going to be paid a salary yourself. You're allowing yourself to get dividends. If you don't do these things, you're missing out on this other juicy part. You're just worried about taxes because you don't understand it. Then sit and talk to your accountant. Get a bookkeeper in at some point so they can explain to you the things that you think about, you read about, but you're not quite sure about. Sit
Hmm.
down and have that conversation because it's going to help you do better in growing your business in all different areas. You can have word of mouth, you can have referrals, and that's great. But when you start running a company, you genuinely at some point need to understand how to advertise, how to pay for the people you want to come into your business. There are different quality of people. Sometimes people don't want to say that. You run an ad and you get people in, and there are different quality of people. I can't tell you, I've run ads so many different times, and lots of times I may get one or two clients out of it. But
Uh-huh.
Terry, those one or two clients stayed with me for 13 years, 16 years.
All right. Yes.
And
Wow.
and those big clients worth, how many thousands per year.
Mm-hmm.
You don't look at them at what they're paying weekly, but you look yearly. A client might worth 6,000 a year, another client might worth 20,000 a year. And if they stay for you for a length of time, you're not advertising to them anymore. That advertising dollars can go to acquiring more like those clients. Those clients
Oh.
genuinely like you. You don't have to ask twice. They're like, I'm sending you I'm sending you a recommendation, or they'll say to you, I know X, Y, and Z looking for cleaners. I tell them there's nobody better than narc cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so you get referrals back, but you first acquire them because you run an ad and the need was there and they hire you and you came in and you perform well. That's the other part. That's why we need all these different departments. When you do all these different departments, you start understanding that the doer, just like the sales is your bloodline,
Uh-huh.
the doer keep your clients. So if you don't train them well, if you are not doing it, now when you're doing it, it's great because you know what to do. But your job as a doer should have everything documented. Everybody talk about system, but sometimes you don't tell people so they don't understand. Everything that you do, you need to document it well so that you can take those and train others with it efficiently. I mean, you have to get yourself efficient. And so those people will help maintain and retain the clients you acquire from the sales journey. And it doesn't matter if I sent Lucy, Gemma, Paul, Adrienne. It didn't matter who I sent. There's just
Mm-hmm.
one streamline. You get there in the morning, you be very courteous to everybody. Here's where the supplies lie. You smile, you be happy, and you do your work like you were trained to do. It's that simple. If you find people who complain, you get them out of the industry and you get new people in. One of the things also, as a business owner, you can't hold on to people longer than they want to be there. Sit with your people. Ask them, are you evolving? Do you not want to do admin anymore if that's who you hire? Is sales not what you want to do? And if they said, no, I kind of just want to do the work, don't force them. Get them out
Mm-hmm.
of there. The only person you get to force is you because it's your business, not people. People will mess you up if you force them. And I learned this the hard way.
People will undermine you if they're unhappy.
So you want
Mm.
to understand what makes them happy, what they want to do. I had a guy used to clean for me, and then he wouldn't show up, and then he'd have an excuse. And I asked him, I said, "Do you really want to be here?" And he says, "No, I really want to do construction." I said, "Okay, I'm going to send your pay. Please do not show up at the place." And he said, "What? I'm letting you go." Now, a little while later, when work wasn't busy where he was, he wanted to come back. I did not take him back.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
know he needed a job, but I did not take him because Terry, he did not want to be there.
Exactly.
So this is part of you understanding your business. These are the hard part. These are all the balls that you're juggling, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
have to grow before you can hand some of those balls over to your general manager or your supervisor or whomever you have in charge. You still have to decide because some balls, even though it's hand over to him or her, they might still throw it back at you because it might be too difficult for them. And before you say, well, you're the manager, you should know how, maybe they need new training and maybe you don't have the skill to train them. You need to hire it out. There's places who you can hire out those training to. Don't be afraid. Just like how you're upgrading you might want to take your manager and say, hey, I've booked some training for you because this part has been difficult. And talk to them. Don't just chuck them into training. Talk to them. This has been difficult for you. I know it's giving you a hard time. I am looking to upgrade you, so I'm giving you the help you need. And so if you agree, this is what I'm willing to pay for. This is what a company is willing to pay for you to do
Mm.
better in this area so that you can grow. And on no obligation that after you've grown, that you'd stay with us, but we hope you will. You got to give people this opportunity to not feel because you're doing something for them, they can't leave. Because that is also another resentful part of it.
Mm.
People have to know that you can train them and they can leave. And it's okay. And when I say this to people, they're like, that don't make any sense. Yes, they will stay actually when you give them the option that they could leave.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
People do not want to be tied in. That's all. It's not because they don't want the job, but they want to know they have the option to leave. And when you get that right, you understand. And who do you share your desires with? Maybe it starts with a family member, maybe it starts with a friend. But as you grow these people that's working with you, you share the desires with them. You tell them where the company want to go. You ask them what they want to see, what
Ah.
they'd like to have. Like, where would they go? I sit down with my girls and talk to them about budgeting, about what they're doing with the money they're earning, the things they want to do. And at first it's hard and uncomfortable. But over time they're like, Karen, I can't believe you before I remember a lady saying to me, why do you want to know about my money? I'm like, because I want you to have some. If you quit tomorrow, I want you to still have some money in the bank. And she's like, oh, so you care? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. I want to do this, 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 and that. We sat down. She came a Saturday, and we looked at all her monies, and we decide where things have to go. I helped lead her. She followed. And within a year or two, she was debt-free. Guess who's staying with me for a long time? I'm looking after her, not only that she works for me, but I want to look after her in the way that I could. I'm good at. Maybe money is not your thing, but something else is your thing. See how you can be of service to the people that you hire beside a paycheck.
I love that. I love that because when people are getting their desires and their needs met,
Mm-hmm.
they want to stay. They're comfortable. They feel valued.
Yes, that's the word right there. That's the word, Terry. They feel valued.
And they should feel valued because they're valuable.
Mm-hmm.
They're valuable to the world and they're
Yes,
valuable to the company.
yes.
Hmm. And if they don't feel a value to themselves, they're not going to be of value to you.
Nope, no, no. And people say I got disgruntled workers. I got people who's not doing well. You start to look at companies that people work well for. I used to be a waitress at a company called Blue Dell. They cater for weddings. I tell you, a Polish guy and a Guyanese black guy, they own this company. When I tell you people go looking for them to work for them when they used to be in business, best bosses you could ever get. Best bosses. I tell you, not only do you work for them, they feed you the end of the night. If they don't see you show up, if you didn't call into work, they come to find out where you're at, what's going on with you, how they can help. Always. Those two guys were gems. They look after the staff. You finish work, you're a young lady, and you didn't drive. They want to know how you're getting home, and they'll arrange a ride for you. And if they can't arrange a ride with another co-worker, they will call you a cab. The minute they find you went on the bus or something late at night, they're like, this is not happening again. I was one of them. I was taking the bus. I wasn't driving at the time. And Terry's like, kind of heard you took the bus at 2 a.m. What is wrong with you? I was like, well, I mean, that's how he said, no, we will figure out who's taking you home. When you come into work, if I'm busy, see me and let me know how you're going home. I said, I can't do that every week. He says, every week. I want you at my desk, if I am busy, telling me how you're getting home. If you learn to drive, great, and you got a car. If you don't have a car, I want to know how you're going to get home. And what he did is at the end of the shift, he let the chef cook for the whole staff, and you eat dinner. And around the table, he say a prayer. We have a conversation, and he's like, "So how are you getting home? Who's going east? Who's going west? Somebody going north because I'm up north.
Mm-hmm.
I got room for 2 people. You know, another guy, you got room for 1, and that's how he would just move people around. So
But think about that. That meant you could work the evening without being distracted by how are you getting home,
mm-hmm,
trying to make a call, trying to, you know what I mean?
yes, 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 he was so in tune with his staff.
And a lot of times, you're in places, new places, you don't know
Yeah,
where you're at,
yeah.
and you have no idea how to get home.
That was me. That was me. I was new to the country. I was just my first year. Everything looked alike. When it's cold, I wasn't sure left or right.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
got lost. And then he made it so simple. He said, you get to work and I'll get you back home. You
There
get to
you go.
work, and I'll get you back home. I
Hmm.
don't want anybody's girl or boy child on the road late at night because we are young people, teenager or early 20s. And he said, I want to make sure you're home safe. And I
Hmm.
worked for him Friday nights, Saturday night, and some Sunday nights. And I never had to worry how I was getting home. I just get to work. So.
Which is one of the reasons why you probably showed up.
True, me and how many other of us, the ones that didn't drive. Quite a few of us took the bus. They had bigger people with cars and so who give us a ride. But the majority of young people took the bus, or some people who were married, their husbands picked them up. But I wasn't one of them at the time, right? So
Well, Coach, let's review. We talked about what are your greatest desires
mhm.
and who do you share those desires with?
Yes, yes.
So, so you want to expound on that? Just
Yes, yes, your desires are, as I said before, it's this strong feeling that you have inside, and
Mhm.
it can be very scary. It frightens you. Sometimes you want to push it down. Don't work through it. Just like fear. When fear is happening, it's just there to help you work through it. It's not there to stop you. Lots of time you think so. It's there for you to work through it, however you need to. Micro steps. That's it, and then figure out who you want to share to it in the beginning. But once you get into it and you're working through those desires and what you're doing, then start sharing it if you hire with your staff, with the people you want to grow. And as you grow, it is a beautiful thing. It truly is.
You know what I heard you say, and I don't know if you're aware of it, but when you said who do you want to share it with, it was with people within the company, not necessarily your family, not necessarily friends, not necessarily customers, but with those folks that you have desired to partner with or hire or
Yes, yes. Initially, when you start, it probably might be a friend or a sister, somebody. But eventually, as you grow, it is within the company because people just want to know. They hate to be left in the loop and hearing whispers around. Because
Mhm.
whether you're online or in person, another person of the company will speak and they will learn things and they don't want to hear it that way. That's why staff meetings are so important, and just meeting each individual um, employee and talking to them and feeling where they are at and what can you do for them. You can have somebody, I know we're going over the time a little bit, but you can have somebody who never had a birthday, and all of a sudden you have gifted them this thing. I remember giving a girl, I baked and iced a cake, and this woman said, I've never had a cake iced for me, like was baked for me. This is a grown woman, and I just do it because I just had this feeling that I want to do it for her and make some niceties. And she was just over the moon. She never said anything. This is when you
Wow.
do things from the heart for people. They will just, you don't know how you touch them.
Yes.
You can't buy that.
Mm. Wow. And these are little things that we just do because it's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrate
Mm-hmm.
people's birthdays. And here
Yeah.
was someone who never been celebrated. I
Yeah.
think I think I better understand just with that little story why people do things on the job for one another, why they celebrate things within their work family.
Mm-hmm.
Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times they're not getting these things
Yes.
through their bloodline, through their
Yeah.
relatives.
And they
Mhm.
wouldn't volunteer that information on just so. Like the circumstances allow her to say, and she cried and she said, you bought me a card? There was something inside the card? Do you understand what you
Mhm.
just did? And I was like, I just made you a cake. I like making cakes. She's like, no, you made me a cake. Like, I got a cake.
Mhm.
So you never know how you can really reach people and look after them as they look after you. This is a hand world. This is not a wash up my hand and I don't care what happened to you. No, no, no. Mm-mm.
Wow.
All
Well,
right, guys. A little
well,
bit.
Coach, I want to thank you as we go through these four pillars. And today was assessing your greatest part. We started with the art of decision making.
Hmm.
And today we talked about assessing your greatest desires.
Yes.
And so we look forward to hearing the other two pillars, oh my gosh, of getting started in your life and in your business.
Mhm.
Coach, I just cannot express how much we love you and we thank you for the things that you bring to the forefront.
I'm
There's
so
so
glad
many
I get to bring it to you guys.
there are so many things that you point out that are so simple but are so critical to having success in business.
Hmm.
So, guys, if you're looking for Coach Caren, you can find her at Profits in Daily on Facebook and Instagram. Also, if you need to make an appointment with Coach Caren, I, I look, we are going to go here and say, hey, look, come on, set up a meeting with Coach Caren. There it is, right on the screen. Take that screenshot and take that opportunity to have this conversation with someone with a wealth of experience who can help you get where you need to get in the world of business and in your life. Oh, thank you, Coach Caren, for all that
Thank
you
you.
do. We here at BizChicks appreciate you and love you, and we look forward to hearing more from you. So we want to remind everybody, if you're looking for a way to run a profitable business that's fun to run, you need to contact BizChicks at 33777. Just simply text biz to that number, or you can find us at bizchicks.net. With that, we want to wish you well, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye, everyone.